Welcome to the Wild Idea Outdoors Show, where Jeff and Darren talk hunting and all things outdoors. Sit back and relax while we bring you the Ozark Outdoors. Or better yet, give us a call and join in.
And we'd like to welcome you to Wild Idea Outdoors. While Darren is messing with the Facebook feed, it's me and Kevin Zelke.
Good afternoon.
How are you?
Doing good. What a day. It's beautiful.
Greene County Game Warden for the Missouri Department of Conservation. You've
Yep.
probably been a little busier than the rest of us through the weekend. We're going to talk gun safety, hunter safety, just all around safety when it comes to deer hunting today. Let me ask you this. Were there any reports of injuries over the weekend?
Not that we've heard. I mean, they'll send out the release hopefully, usually by tomorrow or Wednesday, the hunting incidents, but nothing that we heard, that were reported from our region. So, which is a good thing. I mean, because you want everybody to be safe.
Of course.
A lot of that has to do with people being able to wear hunter orange, that's required while you're firearms deer hunting. And then, we still see reports here and then nationally even of people, wearing safety harnesses while they're in tree stands. And it's very important that you wear that.
Yeah.
And have a plan. Another thing is to have a hunting plan. I mean, I did hear, I'm not really sure where, if it was in Missouri or somewhere else, but somebody did, have a heart attack, and pass away, when they're hunting and stuff. And so having a plan to where you're telling people where you're going to be.
And there went our Facebook Live feed is old Fumbly Fingers over there. Let her down. That would have been interesting to watch. I wonder if I can catch that on the Facebook feed.
We may have it on the camera. It may be on the feed whenever it drops. So
I'm going to watch it.
Anyway, having a plan while you're hunting to let people know where you're hunting, when you're going to be back, is very important because, we'll get calls that, hey, so-and-so didn't report in. And, and having a plan and letting us know where you're going to be. So we have at least a place to start, to look. And so that's important to have that plan.
Now, and is that a duty of the Conservation Department is to help folks look for missing people?
Oh, we can. Oh, yeah. I mean, especially if it's on our wildlife areas or farms. Usually a lot of times, especially people hunting on private ground. I mean, just because we've got the vehicles that can get back in there. And, this is after, if somebody obviously hasn't returned, not just say they're just
right.
a little late. I mean, but yeah, in a search.
Missed dinner.
Yeah. I mean, this is, when they're way, way past due and nighttime and stuff. So, so having that plan is good. Make sure everybody's wearing hunter orange and, wearing safety harnesses if you're up in a tree stand.
So we got a little bit of time before big boy season, that's as I like to call it, opens up. What are some of the preparations that a person can take? I always sit here and go, okay, guys, number one, make sure your rifle is sighted in. Just because it was sighted in last year doesn't mean it's sighted in this year.
Our biggest thing would be, people waiting to the last minute, whether it's sighting in your rifle, getting permits, making sure you got your proper permits. Don't think, oh yeah, I think I got that permit back when I bought my 15 other ones that I got, and rifle. I mean, it is concerning the number of people you'll see the day or so before deer season getting a scope on a gun and going. So yes, you always want to, check your rifle, go to a range, make sure that it's on, make sure you got your permits, whether it's your landowner permits or whichever ones that you need. Also make sure, we get this too, people try to maybe save a little money and they'll only buy an any deer permit, and then they will go and harvest an antlerless deer, and then they'll decide to go buy an antlerless deer permit and then put that any deer permit, they'll want to save that any deer permit. Well, I mean, you can't. You've got to use the permit that you had with you at the time of harvest. So, our two permits combined, if you buy one any deer and one antlerless permit, it's not a lot of money, to have both of them. And, make sure you got that. Make sure, like you said, you're going out, getting that rifle sighted in. It's going to be, hopefully the weather will cooperate as well as it did for the youth season this past weekend, during the November portion. I've seen it 80 degrees and kind of like today, beautiful weather to be out in the fall, but just not that great for hunting weather.
Right.
And then I've seen it, snow, spit, rain, whatever. So, we get extremes a lot of times this year, especially this time of the year in early November.
Well, let me ask you this. Are there, I know it changes every year, are there counties where you can buy multiple doe tags, or are they all open for multiple doe tags, or how do you find out that information?
Yeah, so under the, and I can look it up, under the antlerless portion, and also on our map, like in 28 and 29 in the deer regulation, it'll talk about the antlerless portion, which permits can be used during that antlerless portion, because some counties, don't participate in the antlerless portion. Some counties you can have one antlerless deer permit, and then some you can have two. So on the antlerless portion, you can find out some information about that, and then also during the permit portion that it talks about earlier in the deer and turkey brochure on page 19, it talks about the firearm antlerless permits, whether they're available during the firearms permit, if you have to use an any deer permit, if you get one antlerless firearm permit or two. So we have maps of the state, and then it highlights the counties showing how many that you can get.
Can you go in and buy too many? Will the computer allow that, or?
No, I don't think. I mean, I guess if you want to pay.
Well, I mean, if you went to a different county and bought.
Yeah, I think I don't think there is a limit, because you can buy, it's per county. So yeah, I mean, as long as you're using them, you can go. The limit is for, that county to use there.
Right.
So if you own property here or hunt here, and then you go to another county, yeah, you can go hunt in another county and buy just another antlerless permit.
Right. Okay.
So,
I understand.
before years ago, we used to have the zones, and you had to pick what zone you were going to
Yeah.
in. Man, that's probably back in like 2000s or whenever that was. So,
Exactly.
so it's, we've gotten it to where it's hopefully a little more easier to understand.
And I get asked this quite often. Can a person, you say you're sitting on the stand, nice buck comes through, boom, you shoot the buck, doe comes after, boom, you shoot the doe.
As long as you got an any deer and you've got the
Right.
permits to be there, you
Nothing
can.
wrong with that.
No.
Okay.
No, we don't. It's not like spring turkey season where
Right.
like we limit someone to a turkey
One
today,
day, yeah.
and then one the first week. I mean, no, if you've got an any deer permit and an antlerless permit,
And
And
so
they're
if
both
you
there?
if you have any deer, antlerless, and 2 extra doe tags, you could take out a whole herd.
if you want to clean that many and
That's
deal
what
with that many,
I was thinking about dragging them. I'm like,
knock yourself out. Yeah,
Yeah.
and there would be a limit, on the, but
hey, Darren's back.
Yeah, I'm back. We actually have a couple callers already on the line, so let's go right to them, and we'll get back to that in just a minute. But we've got Noah on line one. How you doing, Noah?
Good.
Hey, I heard you had a really big weekend.
Yes.
Well, tell us all about it, buddy.
Tell them about your hunt.
Good.
It was
Well-
good.
Papa's going to have to help him a little bit and all that. Tell them what you passed on right off the bat. What did you pass on?
A doe.
And why'd you pass on her? What'd you tell Papa you passed on the doe for? Why?
What he
You're going to get a big...
buck.
Did you get that?
Yeah, we did. Now, I understand that this buck was really, really big,
Yeah.
and you took it over to the couple of the contests over there in Marshfield, specifically the Hillbilly Hunting one, and what'd they score that thing at?
Say about 180.
180.
wow.
That is phenomenal. Noah, congratulations on that big buck. Have you got it all skinned out and in the freezer already?
Yep, say it's going to the taxidermist today.
Yeah. And this is your first deer, right?
Yeah.
Well, it's hard to go up from that. That's for
I
sure.
think he's just done. Where do you go from there? I mean, where do you really go from there? I mean, a 180-inch deer. I mean,
That's phenomenal. Absolutely
Well,
phenomenal.
we tried to explain this to him. I don't know if he'll get a bigger one, and he's already preparing for next year.
I bet he is. Well, Noah, congratulations on that big buck. Way to go, buddy.
Yep.
Thank you so much for calling us here at the Wild Ed Outdoors Show.
Thank you.
You have a good afternoon, okay?
Okay.
All right. Now, we've also got another caller. Now we got Samantha. How you doing, Samantha?
Hi.
Hey, we know each other, don't we?
Yeah.
Yeah, we do. Yeah, we do. So tell us your story. I understand you got you one this weekend. I haven't seen it, but I've seen pictures.
Yep. I was actually asleep, and then I got up because I wanted to stay awake, and then my dad had been awake the whole time. He looked up and said, "Don't move. There's like 5 does across the field from us." And he said he's coming behind him because I was holding out for a buck. So then I finally got around to sit back down, and we were in a little quad pod. And he came running up right as I got to sit down and got on the gun. And he chased off all the does and then turned around and walked back. And my dad got him to stop. And then I shot him. And
Did he just
ran
jump up and
about-
yell? Did you just jump up and yell, "Stop"? Is that how I got him to stop?
No.
No.
No, he grunted at him and he turned and looked
I see.
at us.
I see.
And he ran about 20 yards and stopped again. So we shot him again so that we were for sure he was dead. And then
Because your dad
he
didn't
had
want to
just
walk
gone-
very far to drag him, is what it boils down
Yeah,
to.
he did
yeah,
not.
Yeah, yeah, I know your dad. Yeah.
Yeah.
I don't blame
So-
him. I've done the same thing.
Yeah, the buck only went about 10 yards down the hill. So,
All right. Well, congratulations, Sam. Great job. I saw the pictures. A lot of character on that buck. It sure was. And it was
Yeah.
it was a great one for you. And that's your first buck, isn't it?
yes.
Oh, wow. That's a good one to have.
Nice.
Congratulations.
Thank you.
Thank you so much for calling us. And I guess you got to get to practice, don't you?
You're welcome.
All right. Well, good luck to you. Okay.
Thanks.
All
Bye.
right. All right.
I didn't see pictures of that one. You're the only one. You hogged the picture.
Well,
on that one.
I'll post them over on the Facebook, over on the Wild Idea Outdoors page. For those that are watching live on Wild Idea Outdoors, my apologies. We're having some technical difficulties, as I have every week. Normally it works itself out. This time it hasn't. So we're operating off a speaker. So you may hear a little bit of an echo, but we should be able to get it all on here that way. And maybe I need to buy a little bit more, some new equipment. I'm tired of fighting this thing. So.
You almost had to buy a new phone.
almost. So we got about a minute left before we go to break. You guys were talking about safety with this upcoming firearm season, which starts a week from Saturday, and there's a lot of in about you say 4 or 5 days, we'll start seeing the campers and the trailers full of ATVs.
We call
and-
it the Pumpkin Army.
Yeah, it'll start hauling up and down the highways, going to the various deer camps and all that. And it happens every year, and it's tradition for a lot of people in Missouri to get together at camps and things like that. But our purpose here today is specifically to talk to the youth, but also to remind everybody to be safe. If you're going to go out there and enjoy the outdoors that Missouri has gotten for us here, be safe about it. Make sure you wear that blaze orange. Make sure you know what you're shooting at and what's beyond it. Don't be packing loaded guns into camp or in your pickup or things like that. When you're crossing fences, make sure that gun is safe before you go across that fence. Hand it to somebody else. Don't take it across yourself. All these things that we learn as young people, but sometimes we forget as we get older. We get a little bit arrogant and we think, well, I'll handle it,
And another one is having a haul line up and down the stand for your rifle, backpack stuff. Make sure you've got a way where you're not, you have your hands free, and having a gun on your shoulder seems like maybe on a sling, seems like a good idea until you kind of get, and then you're having to mess with that. So always use a haul line to bring that up too.
All right. Well, let's go to a break. We'll be right back here on the Wild Idea Outdoors Show. Before we get into some more callers, hopefully we have some callers call in at 417-868-6100 or 1-800-869-5927. We want to hear from those youth hunters that have had success this last weekend. And even if you didn't have success, we want to talk to you about your hunt. This is one of the favorite shows Jeff and I do every year is the show after youth season.
And that's something. I mean, it all depends on what you gauge as success. My son and I went out, and even though we didn't harvest, it was probably one of the most successful hunts we've ever been on.
Yeah.
I mean, it was a blast. We did not harvest an animal, had an opportunity to. He decided not to, and then I messed up the one he decided to, and then the other one decided not to let us, bring it in. But, I mean, all in all, it'd be nice to be gutting a deer when the, time was over, but wow, what a hunt we had.
Yeah.
I mean, so much fun to spend with your kids or your grandkids or whoever, and that's what, watching Garrett with Brooks in that video that you posted, That's something right there that I know how Garrett was feeling, And
Oh, Grandpa was pretty happy too.
I'm sure Grandpa was happy too. But, I mean, as a dad,
Yeah.
having your son out there, and Brooks was excited, don't get me wrong, but he's not to the level of grasping what all just happened as much as Dad was.
Oh, yeah,
And so that's something, he'll always remember.
And don't forget, I mean, we have another youth portion. I mean,
Yes.
we still have the firearm season, and then, we kind of changed it years ago where we used to have that antlerless portion right after the firearms deer season. And, we kind of changed stuff, and now we have this youth portion, that's November 23rd through the 25th, right during that Thanksgiving weekend time
Yeah.
to where,
Yeah.
we know people travel and some people go out of town, but some people stay close to home. And that gives you that opportunity that, hey, they're out of school, kids are out of school, and you can go and take them again, during that later youth portion. So,
Oh, my lands. We do have a caller on the line.
Uh-oh.
I do believe I know this one. We have Brooks on the line, the hunter extraordinaire. How you doing there, buddy?
Good.
How was school today?
Good.
Good, good. So you went out with your dad and your grandpa Saturday, right? And didn't get anything Saturday morning, but Saturday evening you did. So tell us about that hunt. How'd it go?
Good.
Okay. Can you elaborate on that?
Brooks, pretend you're in my office while I'm on the phone.
On the story.
Remember the hay bale one?
Yeah, we're bell blinded.
Yeah, bale blind and
Got there super early.
got there super early. Went to go eat lunch. Came back,
Brought lots of snacks.
yes. And I ate all my sister's crackers.
that's the important part.
It is.
Snacks are important.
Yeah.
They weren't saltine crackers, were they, Brooks? Because saltine crackers are illegal during gun season.
Here they were.
So what happened then, Brooks?
I took a nap.
Don't. Wait, woke up from a nap.
Yeah, and then started.
What happened?
Walked into the field, and then just started walking.
Walking to it.
Yeah, walking towards us, and then
Why couldn't you shoot him when we first saw him?
because he was moving.
And he was looking right at us, wasn't he?
Yeah.
So we waited till he did what?
Turned broadside.
Yep. You put the crosshairs, where'd you put them at?
Right here, but I actually not moving.
So Brooks, you shot, and you were trying to hit him behind the shoulder, correct?
Yes.
But the bullet had different ideas.
Yes.
The bullet didn't want
I
didn't want you to have to blood trail him, right?
I think what happened is he's walking to our right, and then he started walking at us, and he's getting frustrated that he threw his hands up and said, well he's looking right at me. So he waited, and then he was headed to the left, and I think in the scope, I think we had forgot which direction he was facing, and in front of the shoulder and behind the shoulder probably looked a lot alike for a little 6-year-old boy looking through a scope.
Mm-hmm. Now, what was that contraption you had that gun set up on, Garrett?
It was a little Colwell dead shot, little tripod dead shot, especially for him. I mean, it's not as steady as a lead sled, but I was able to kind of adjust it up and down and left and right, kind of get it pointed in the right direction, and then I can just kind of sit back and let him do all the work on there. So, but it honestly, we had one come in we were facing that way to the north, and I had a little buck come in from the west that morning, so I left it facing that way. So we had to do some adjusting in the blind, but if we didn't have that thing and we weren't in a blind, we did a lot of moving around, but we got the job done though.
Yeah.
So Brooks, watching that thing drop in the scope, I had I remember shooting a lot of deer when I was younger, and a lot of sad blood trails, and unhappy kid at the end of a blood trail. But watching that thing drop right there, it was some immediate satisfaction on his part.
He had a little reaction to that when it dropped. That was awesome. Got a little excited. That's what you're there for. I mean, these kids, this opportunity that we give kids to go and do this early, and have those special moments that you can dedicate your time to your kids. You can get out there and spend time with, like you said, if it's a grandfather, son, mom, daughter, whatever. You can kind of focus this time and give them this early opportunity. To go and do this and just focus on them, and they never forget it as long as they live.
Absolutely, yeah. He was out there. We planted food plots, and he actually helped me make that bail blind last year, and we put it out there, and we hunted several times during archery season. Him and his little sister came out multiple times and brought iPads and brought snacks and blankets and took naps, and we were able to kind of go out there and see deer almost every time. And immediately, as soon as we shot it, first thing he wanted to do is he wanted to go check the card. And he's like, I want to know if I got a picture of that buck before I shot it. So.
All right. Well, we've got another caller on the line, but hey, for those that want to watch this hunt, we videotaped it. And if you check out Wild Today Outdoors' Facebook page, there's a link there, or just go to YouTube under WIO Videos. WIO Videos, and you'll find it there, Brooks's hunt. Brooks, congratulations, buddy. Great first deer for you, and Grandpa loves you.
Thank you.
All right.
Bye.
Bye. All right. We've got Isabella on the line. How we doing, Isabella?
Good.
Boy, Isabella, you can talk. How are you?
Good.
Good. Good. Did you go hunting this last weekend?
Yeah.
Wow. Was that exciting?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Saturday evening.
Saturday evening. Wow. And did you get you a deer?
Yeah.
All right. Can you tell me all about that? I want to know about your hunt.
Well, first we were in my stand, and then we were watching. Then we fixing to leave, and then we saw 2 deer at my grandpa's. Then we came up, crawled, and then we sneaked up on them, and then shot them. I was like, got it, boom. As soon as I said, got it, I pulled the trigger.
Oh, wow.
Now, how big was this?
It was a button buck.
Awesome. Nice. That'll be some good eating, Isabella. Now, do you enjoy eating deer meat?
Thanks. Oh, yeah.
Yeah. Forgot I was talking to you guys. Sorry.
Isabella, were you hunting with your dad or your grandpa? Who was you hunting with?
I was hunting with my dad.
Oh, wow.
And then guess what?
What?
There was a deer behind us, and it was a 6-pointer.
Oh, wow. That is so neat. How old are you, Isabella?
6.
6 years old. This was your first deer season then, wasn't it?
Yeah.
Oh, wow. I bet you that was exciting. Who was more excited? Were you more excited or your dad?
Probably me.
No, you think so? You think so? I bet your dad would say he is.
And first we couldn't find it, but then my grandpa came with a good flashlight and looked all over the ground. And then he found blood, and Daddy found my deer.
Awesome.
Nice.
How did you feel whenever you first saw that deer and you knew that you had it?
Excited.
I bet you were. Was there any high-fiving or hugging going on in your group?
High-fiving.
Excellent. Excellent. Now, at 6 years old, you're probably tall enough, you can just reach up there and high-five, right? Or did they have to bend down?
I could reach up and high-five.
Isabella, we are so glad you called us. That was such a great story. Thank you so much for giving us the story about how you killed your first deer. And I wish you luck in your future hunts. When you go, you're going to be going a lot, I'm sure, over the next several years. So congratulations, Isabella.
Thank you.
Thank you. It's just it's neat talking to these kids.
That girl would have been fun to be in the line with. I'll just tell
she's
you that.
been a blast.
She
Absolutely.
doesn't sound like she'd have been one to take a nap, though.
Oh no, she would. But they get a little tuckered out there
Yeah.
after a while, especially at that age. But we're up against a break. We're going to take a break. Hopefully some more callers are going to call in and give us their stories on their youth hunts. Numbers, once again, 1-800-869-5927 or 417-868-6100 are the numbers to call, and we'll be right back on the Wild Idea Outdoors Show. Welcome back to the Wild Idea Outdoors Show, and we're talking to some youth hunters. We've got Joe on the line. How you doing, Joe?
Great. How you guys doing?
Doing wonderful.
Well, I got in late. I just got out of school, so I'm hoping nobody else called us in. But I was part of a CTO hunt with Mike Harris here over the weekend, and so we had 7 boys on Saturday, and 6 out of 7 boys got a deer. I think we had 4 bucks and 2 doe, and then the one boy that did not get a deer, it was like God was just watching out for him, because when you take kids hunting and if they don't get to shoot the gun, they usually just, ask, well, can I just shoot the gun? But when you're hunting, you don't get to shoot the gun. So it was like God was watching out. It was dark the last night, and God sent a coyote right in front of this last boy who hadn't had a deer yet. So he got to pop a coyote, so he got to shoot the gun.
Oh, good for him. Good for him.
It was awesome. Yeah, and then Mike took, and some other helpers took 4 girls the next day, and Mike told me 3 out of the 4 girls got a deer. So it was a great weekend.
Good deal. Good deal. I'm glad you guys do all that for those kids, and hats off to you guys for all that you guys do for them. And I'm glad a bunch of them got to be able to put some tags on some animals and knock down a coyote at the same time.
That's right. Yeah, hallelujah. Yeah, there was a bunch of kids that had never hunted before, and of course a bunch of kids who had never killed a deer before. So it was a great time, man. It's awesome to be able to help them do that.
Oh, good deal, Joe. Thank you so much for the update. We appreciate it.
All right. Thanks for letting me tell you.
No.
Bye-bye.
And we've got Doug on the line from the Hillbilly Hunter.
Hey guys, how you doing?
Doing good. How are you?
Oh, pretty good. It was pretty exciting this weekend. Saturday started off real fast whenever Noah checked in his deer. That was amazing. We had a bunch of bucks checked in early.
Hey, what
and then
county?
it slowed down.
What county was that buck killed in?
Greene County.
Greene County. Wow, good deal.
Yep, he actually heard about our contest from the radio show and drove down to Marshville just for it.
Oh, good deal. Good deal.
I'm pretty sure I would have done that. I'd have been driving to every place that had a contest in the state. I'll just tell you that.
Yeah, I couldn't. When we saw him on the back of the truck, we all just kind of stood there like, where do we start?
Yeah.
But he did a video interview, and whenever we get it all edited, a lot of the kids decided this year they actually wanted to talk on video. So we'll put it together and get it posted.
Very good. Very good. Well, good deal. How many deer did you guys have come through there?
I think total we had 22 deer come through this weekend.
Oh, good deal. Good deal. Well, that's great. It's great what you guys do down there, and you guys and the CTO guys and all that you guys do, getting kids involved in the outdoors and activities. And once again, hats off to all you guys. I hate to rush you, Doug, but I do have a youth caller on the line that I need
Awesome.
to talk to.
Perfect.
All right. Thanks, Doug. Take care.
All right. You do. Bye.
We've got Hayden on the line, and according to my notes here that's in front of me on this screen, you killed a buck with a lot of points.
Yeah.
How old are you, Hayden?
I'm 12 years old.
12 years old, and you went hunting this youth season. Tell us
Yep.
about it.
Okay, so that morning we went out and we knew it was going to get pretty warm that day, so we didn't know what was really going to come by. And we saw some does and 4-point running, chasing some does. And then it got pretty hot, so we decided to leave because the neighbors were driving around in their field. And so we decided to leave because it got hot in the neighbors. And we went out about 4 o'clock that afternoon, and we saw some does and the spike, and he was chasing the does. And then the spike comes bolting out of the woods, and we're like, well, something scared him. And so about probably 5 minutes after that, this nice buck came out. We didn't get to see him. We only saw his right side, and he was super wide. We could tell that, but he chased those does and the spike off.
And then my dad reached back to get his camera just in case he came back out. And he looked in the other window, and the buck that I shot was there. He was walking down to the pond, and my dad's like, Hayden, shoot your buck, shoot your buck. And we just thought he was a normal buck. And then so I shot him, and we walked down there, and I'm like, golly, he's huge. And because we just thought he was a good 6 or 7. And we got down there, and he had a lot of junk on him and everything like that. And we counted a total of 18.
18 points. That's a dandy buck. I saw a picture of it. That's a good buck. It certainly is.
Yeah.
Congratulations to you.
He doesn't look too big, but if you look in the back and all his junk, and you count all his horns, he's pretty big.
Yeah, yeah. Now, is this your first deer, or you killed several?
I've killed several.
You've killed several. Is this your biggest one?
Yeah.
Well, congratulations to you, Hayden. That's pretty neat.
Thank you.
So, where you go from here? You gonna get a bigger one next year?
I hope.
You hope so, do you?
Everybody is like, well, now you're kind of doomed because you shot your biggest buck early and you don't have like anything to like, because you can't. It'll be hard to shoot like a bigger buck next year and all that. So.
Well, you know what, Hayden? There's always bigger ones out there. You keep hunting,
Yeah.
you'll come across a bigger one if you keep at it. That's a neat thing about the wildlife out there. But you know what else is neat? It doesn't matter how big it is. They're all trophies. Yeah. They're all trophies. It's all about the experience and getting to hunt with your family and being around your friends and enjoying the all of God's outdoors that He's given us to enjoy. That's what it's all about. So it doesn't matter if it's doe. It doesn't matter if it's a 6-point or an 8-point. It's all about the experience, the total experience. And so it doesn't matter if you kill a bigger one or a little one. It's all going to be good.
Yep.
So, Hayden, thank you so much.
But the bigger ones are a lot nicer.
Hayden, thank you so much for calling and telling us your story.
Yep, thank you.
Hey, you're welcome. Once again, our phone numbers 1-800-869-5927 or 417-868-6100 are the numbers to call. We have open phone lines now. We want to talk to these youth hunters, so give us a call. While we're waiting for that, though, we'll talk a little bit about tags, how we go about doing that. Now we get the app out there, and there's a lot. And correct me if I'm wrong, but you can use the app as a proof of purchase for the tags, right?
You can. So, we were talking a little bit earlier about making sure you have those permits before you go, your any deer or antlerless permits. And we have the phone app to where you can. The issue we see more and more in the field now is people notching their permit. Back in the days when we had the yellow sticky back tape,
right.
Permits, you could just rip off that transportation tag. That invalidated it, and you're good to go. Here for several years now, we've had the month and the date, on the edge of the tag, and and you still have to invalidate your permit immediately upon harvest. Make sure that whether you do that on the paper or on your phone on the app, and then you have until 10 p.m. that night to get it checked in. Unless you start processing it or stuff like that, you have to do it sooner. The app is a beneficial thing for notching your permit. I don't think you have to have a cell signal for that, and it kind of just goes in. The issue, if you only have the app, is that at some point, a lot of times, you're going to have to leave that deer alone. Well, it still has to be labeled.
Right.
And so, it's great to have it in the field for convenience, for notching it, checking it, that stuff. It's great. It's just those paper permits. You still really need to have those to then be able to put that on there,
right.
Leave it on the deer,
right.
and have that.
And you have to keep it with the meat too.
Yeah,
correct. So and your transportation portion and all that stuff, and with your confirmation number on it. And the other thing is, a lot of people miss this at times, but whenever you get those permits, if you print them out like I do, sign them. Get them signed, because you need to sign to show that you're in agreement with the laws and so on and so forth. We've got a caller in line. We've got Brandon. How you doing there, buddy?
Good.
How old are you, Brandon?
8.
8 years old, and you went out for Missouri's youth hunting season, didn't you?
Uh-huh.
Uh-huh. Did you get you a deer?
Uh-huh.
All right. I want to hear all about that. What happened?
First, when we got out there, I was loud, and for like 3 hours, because I was rocking back in my chair, like looking towards the directions my dad told me to, and it was like 6, and we saw, and this buck just came out of nowhere, and he walked up until he was at a tree, and we couldn't see him, and then he finally walked up a couple feet, and I could see him, but in my dad's view, he was still in the tree. My dad thought I was going to shoot the tree. So I was standing up when I was holding the gun, and then he's like, "Can you sit down on my lap and try to get a shot?" And I said, "Yeah." When I got on his lap, I could see him through the scope and got the crosshairs on him, and then I shot, and then my dad thought he was going to nosedive, and he's like, "Oh crap, he's going to die right there." Well, he didn't, and he turned around a corner, and then he went into the woods. And when we went to look for blood, we couldn't find a single drop of blood. We looked for about 20 minutes, too. And he's like, "Let's go into the woods." And halfway we were in the woods, and we found him.
Oh, wow. But you got him, didn't you?
Uh-huh.
How big was he?
He was pretty big. He was a 6-pointer, a little 6-pointer.
Wow, is that your first deer?
It was my first buck.
Your first buck. Well, congratulations, Brandon. That's a pretty neat story. Really is. I'm glad you guys were able to get him, and more glad that you guys were able to get out there and enjoy Missouri's outdoors. Were you with your dad or your grandpa? Who were you with?
My dad.
With your dad. Was he excited too?
Uh-huh.
Yeah. So you're going to be eating venison now, aren't you?
Uh-huh.
You like venison? That's good stuff, isn't it?
Yeah, it is.
Well, congratulations, Brandon. I really appreciate you calling us here on the Wild Idea Outdoor Show, and best of luck to you, okay?
Okay.
All right, we're up against a break here on the Wild Idea Outdoor Show. We'll be right back in just a minute. Welcome back to the Wild Idea Outdoor Show, and you were telling me during the break that the Conservation Department has certificates online for their first whatever it is.
Yeah, so if you go onto our website, you can go to huntfishmdc.mo.gov, or just type in Missouri Department of Conservation in your search engine. We have certificate types for your first fish, your first deer, first turkey, and basically you just go in and you it says certificate type, so you select first deer, you enter your name, your age, the date, location, few things, and then you upload a picture to that, and then it'll print out your first deer certificate for you.
Oh, that's
that
cool.
Then you can put in a frame or whatever.
That is really cool.
I mean, there's all kinds of deer fish, whatever you want to do.
I did not know that. That is really neat. So we have a caller on the line. Was Reggie? Richard. Oh, hi, Richard. How you doing?
No, pretty good. How are you?
I'm doing wonderful. What are we going to do for you?
Well, I've got a kind of question. It's maybe an opinion on what to do. I mean, I really enjoy hearing the kids tell their stories and share their experiences, but I took my son out this weekend to hunt property where we've been hunting my dad and I hunted for 15 years, and the neighbor, I guess, was a little upset that we were there and sent about 30 rounds over us. You could hear him changing directions with his shot. After he got done shooting, you could hear the rounds going over the trees.
Well, that's not any good.
No, it's kind of sending us a warning. And when I went over to talk to them to get the key, they had locked the property, which they don't own. And the landowner told me just get with him about the key. He wasn't too happy to see me.
Wow.
Yeah, he told us that they were the only ones that had permission to hunt in there, and that I don't need to waste my time looking for a key.
Well, my advice to you is this: if you felt threatened by firearm going off or something like that, you probably need to report that to the local law enforcement.
Yeah, I mean, if there's any issues about safety and people discharging a firearm in a way, that's unsafe, I mean, that's something you definitely want to talk to the sheriff's department about. When it talks about, and we get this frequently, where people not want other people hunting next to them or whatever, and the biggest thing is if working it out between landowners, and if you're there legally and you have that permission to be there, that's just something that has got to be worked out between the two, and and unfortunately we have these instances that get in conflicts with neighbors or people that don't want them to be there, but thankfully they're few usually, but it's just something that has got to be worked out between landowners, unless something unsafe like that you feel unsafe or threatened, and then you just contact your sheriff's department.
Yeah, I mean, I definitely felt threatened. I mean, where we were and where he was, he couldn't. I mean, in a perfect storm, one would have got through, but they weren't coming through the woods. They were coming right over the top of it.
Mm-hmm.
You could hear him changing directions like a fan, sending them all directions. So,
well,
and it just breaks my heart that, you take a kid out to enjoy the outdoors and someone in their 30s is a little jealous or possessive. I don't know what the story is.
And you said this, now y'all still own the property, or it's a new land? You just have permission to hunt there?
We've had permission to hunt there for 15 years, and I confirmed it with her prior to the season. And after I had my run-in with him where he told me not to waste my time, I reconfirmed it. I didn't want to mention anything about, the danger aspect of it with her being laid up a little bit after surgery. So I just didn't know if you guys ever upset and what my best course of action was. I know it's a he said, she said with the law enforcement, but
the biggest thing is just to work it out between the landowners. I mean, I think if you're a landowner and they're neighbors and you're the kind of guest there and you have permission, I think, it's something that they need to talk about and say, hey, I've given permission, because he was saying that they can hunt there as well. If I remember what you said correctly, but, just work it out between the landowners is something that they're just going to have to do.
Yeah, and he's got permission to be there. It's an older gentleman that's failing in health, and which I have no problem. I've run across the gentleman a few times, but this was his a son, I believe, that was not real happy with us being there. So, but I just wanted your opinion, and I really enjoy the show, and hope to listen every day when I get off work.
Well,
every one Monday.
I appreciate your call, Richard, and good luck to you. Hopefully you don't have that situation come up again, because that is very unfortunate, and some people just don't know how to be civil is what it boils down to.
I'll be honest with you.
Different world nowadays.
I got angry just listening to the story.
Yeah, me too. I don't like that at all.
That's not good.
Guys taking a kid out hunting, and you got people trying to disturb that. That's not good. So, Richard, thank you so much for calling us. Well, we were talking earlier about tagging animals, and what's the time frame again? Let me lay out the scenario, and we've done this several times in the past, but let's lay out the scenario that you shoot a deer, and it's not the best shot in the world, so you decide you're going to let it lay overnight. Mm-hmm. What's the best thing to do? Go ahead and call your conservation agent and just let them know.
Well, yeah, and you say, hey, I'm going to go out there first thing in the morning or whatever, and I mean, I get calls all the time on that. I mean, it's fine. I mean, we're going to go out and go look for it, or once you find it. Usually I'm just as curious if they get it. It's like, hey, text me a photo when you find it,
right.
recover it. So
well,
I mean,
let me ask you this. I mean, because I know the check-in time is 10 o'clock.
Uh-huh.
What happens if you find that thing after 10? Do you just wait till morning?
Yeah, you just wait until, I mean, you can just, or it'll happen to where it will be a late check. So like, you find it at midnight or something, and just call us. Let us know. Say, hey, we were chilling this deer.
Yeah, otherwise it'll throw up a red flag.
Yeah. And so,
Spotlight's still hot, boys.
And I think that's when we literally say, contact your conservation agent if you have questions or concerns or whatever. We're here for that. I mean, that's what we're here to do. And so, we get calls all through the night, all day. And so, it's something that, when you're just letting us know, hey, we're going to go look later, and or hey, we just found it, and checked it in. You know, I mean, we're just as excited for the person that harvested and the people that recover it.
Right. It's a
So,
lot less suspicious if people
Yeah.
communicate.
Yeah.
If they communicate with the conservation department, let them know what's going on, rather than say, we'll just not worry about
Yeah.
it. Just then little red flags start coming up. Now you got to explain yourself later.
You know, and if you make a mistake, I mean, this happens a lot. You know, whether with permits or, you know, like spring turkey season. Like we were talking about that. If you do shoot 2 birds at one time in the spring season or something, you know, it is always better to call us, and we can work it out, and we can work with you a lot more when you're calling us and saying, "Hey, I screwed up. What do we
Right.
need to do?"
Right.
Than when we're finding it on our own and then having to go deal with it that way. So, truly, honesty does go a long way. And when you call us and say, "Hey, you know, text me with your biggest deer," or "Hey, I screwed up, and this is what, you know, how do we need to handle it?" You know, and I've had issues during youth seasons or whatever, or when kids were hunting with folks and, you know, their parents or grandparents, and I think, you know, a lot of times they get to see not that they want to see your parents in that situation, but, you know, you see the example, what they send
Right.
to their kids when that happens on the way that they handle it.
Oh,
you know?
absolutely. I
So-
mean, we've said several times here on the show that we are an example to the young
Yep.
people around us. We need to make sure that we're doing things correctly
Yep.
so that they learn it correctly, because they're watching us whenever we do it. Now, the question, going back to the whole youth season thing, and then, of course, youth hunters can still go out if they haven't filled their tag during the regular firearm season that is November 10th through the 20th. Now, what are the statutes as far as a kid that has not been through hunter safety? They have to be with a licensed adult. Is that correct?
Yes.
And that adult has to be, is it 18? Is that the age?
Yeah, you have to be a licensed adult with hunter certified to be and have a permit, filled or unfilled, you know, like a firearms tag to be with them. And so the only difference, like the youth portion, is the counties that the antler point restriction. So during the youth season, the antler point restrictions are taken off for this season in November, but during the regular season,
They're in effect.
they're in effect. So yeah, just like an adult.
But-
And yes, you have to have a licensed adult hunter who's hunter ed certified to be with them. So when you're out with them. Now, if they're hunter ed certified,
That's if they're under 18 or under.
no, it's more on whether or not they're hunter ed certified.
Okay,
If
so
you're hunter ed certified,
which you can get at 11.
No.
Yeah.
Yeah. What I was saying is the
Yeah.
adult has to be at least 18. Am I correct in
Yes,
that?
yeah.
Yes. The
Okay.
adult has to be
Yeah.
at least 18.
yeah, the kids can be, you know, once you're hunter ed
Right.
certified, you can go. But there's just not a lot of kids are going to let go at 11 or 12 by themselves. You know, which,
Right. Yeah. I
you
wouldn't
know.
do that.
And so, you know, or once you get over, you know, we also have, when you're an adult, we have the apprentice authorization. When you're not hunter ed certified, we'll give you 2 years that you can go and you purchase an apprentice hunter authorization as an adult, and then you buy your tags just like a regular person would. But even that adult then has to hunt with someone who's hunter ed certified that has a permit, and so it's kind of an adult mentoring permit. So
Now, you can do part of your hunter's ed now online, can you not?
yeah, so actually you can do all of it online
Can you?
for the adults. So
the adults.
yeah, so you know, and boy, I really like the hands-on
Yeah,
portion.
yeah.
I mean, you know, for kids and stuff, especially, you know, that hands-on portion, you're going to get to see a lot of different actions and safeties and stuff that kids are going to have to show how to safely unload and load and carry firearms, the different positions. You're going to have to, you know, demonstrate some knowledge that there's so many, you know, different types of firearms, stuff that they're not going to see. You know, they can see all that in 4 hours that they may not see the rest of their life as far as handling guns and doing all that.
Well, you know, and that's like I said earlier, when we went for my son to get it done, it had changed exponentially from when I had taken
Yeah.
mine. And I was like, man, I really like this. This is fun. You know, it was so much hands-on
Yeah.
stuff and really.
You know,
really-
it's kind of it's a little bit better balance when you do that portion. You know, when you go and you do it online, and then you do the other portion that you have to go and take the test. And so, beating the old way that used to be 10, 11, 12 hours of just going through a book. So
Right. Well, hey, guys, we're just about out of time here on the show. I want to say congratulations to all the youth hunters out there that participated in Missouri's youth firearms season this weekend. And if you go back out the 10th through the 20th of the regular season, be careful, be safe. For Kevin and Jeff, I'm Darren, and this has been the Wild Idea Outdoor Show.
It will be